Assalamu alaikum. Today our talk is going to be on the love of the prophets and the love of the masters. How in Islam we have come across the spirituality and what the ways the disciples they thought to opt for to search for the truth. And we have selected also for this, which is my motive as well for my talk on spirituality, is to talk on one of the greatest saints of Kashmir, which Kashmir has ever produced. Almost 1 lakh awliyas Kashmir has produced. And among them, one of the saints whom we call the king of all saints here, whom we call the king of the miracles, whom we give a lot of titles and there are no words to express or to explain the life history of this saint. And his name, maybe most of the people, or often they know the name, or often they know the conditions. In conditions, the spirituality was born in Kashmir. It was Shah Hamdan who came here and he planted and he brought this, or he sowed the seed of spirituality here. And later on, all those who came here, they watered and they milked the plant of this spirituality in this beautiful garden. Today we are going to talk on Hazrat Sultanul Arifin Qutb Alam Sheikh Hamza Makhdumi Rahmatullahi Alayh, whom we also know with the name of Farzande Manavi Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So dears all, Assalamu Alaikum wa a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Innal insana li rabbihi laqanud. Surely, and there is no doubt that man is ungrateful when we are talking about the Lord, and he is ungrateful to him. Inshallah, our talk is on how spirituality is born, and my talk is going to be on one of the greatest books which was produced by the then theologian, the great theologian, whom we also know with the name of Hazrat Abu Hanifa Sani. The name of the book is Wirdul Murideen, and he has written this book in reverence, or the praises of his peer, praises of his master lies in this book. Praises of his master lie in this book. And he starts with the verse Shukri Lillah Haliman Har Lahzane Ko Tarshudas Sheikh Sheikha Sheikh Hamza Tamara Rehbar Shudas. With these verses he starts, and when he started his work, he was a great theologian. He had great hold on fiqh. He had great hold on the ulums. At that time he was known to be the greatest theologians, and with the name of Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa Sani. But later, after all he attained all this, he ultimately owes everything to his master when he says Shukrillah Haliman Har Lahzane Ko Tarshudas Sheikh Sheikha Sheikh Hamza Tamara Rehbar Shudas. So these are the verses from Wirdul Murideen, and he has also written the explanation of these verses, and that too in the form of a book called Dasturu Salikin. And in this book, what he says and what he writes, he says Istiqabat Chu Namud Andar Amal Dharma Ilim Ilim Malam Yalamash Haq Dadodi Parvarshudas. At another place, he says Bari Azat Sakhta ilmul yakin aynul yakin, bas hamo az haqqul yakin, az lutfi haq warshudas. How he defines about his master, about his peer, he defines that when he acted upon all those things which he knew, or mostly we say, or the things which a person knows, the things are what he desires for. First he goes through the knowledge of the Quran, the knowledge of the Hadith, and he knows these things. Then one should act upon these things besides praying, besides praying for 5 times. He has some more duties in case of spirituality when we talk of the spirituality. And he said that he acted upon with firmness there. With firmness he acted upon those things which he knew. And when he acted upon and God bestowed on him what we call as ilm ludani. And then 2 terms he explains about his peer. One is ilmul yakin, then one is haqqul yakin. Ilmul yakin, you can say the knowledge, or you can say the intuition which he gets, or the disciple gets, or the peer gets in the form of dream, or in the form of fully alertness, consciousness. And who are involved in such cases, either they are directly prophets or awliyas, from whom he learns things, from whom he gets the intuition, from whom he gets the direction of the future path. And further he says he bases everything upon the law, how a person can create law, and then he can reach to the target point. The law is very important, whether he explains the law with the Prophet, whether he explains the law with his master. The law is very important in case of spirituality. And when one searches, everything here is for the search of truth. And when one searches, he says that he has to respect his master. Besides respecting his master, he has to fulfill all his duties, all his ways of what he says, the ways of meditation and incantations. And one example he quotes, and that too in the form of beautiful verse. Juft irshadu iradat, ra vilayat zada shud, warna hargiz hey zanza hinda be shawhar shudas. And how it's when you go to any disciple, and one person goes to disciple to search things there, and when you go to the disciple, it's like a man marries a woman, and then he bears, you can say, the children. Same is the case that you have to marry with your peer, you have to marry with your guide, with your master. The marriage becomes lawful, and you have to marry under certain rules and regulations, under certain rules of Sharia and regulations. So in this tariqah there is also the case where you take the help of certain rules and regulations by which you can have the very strong note with your peer, and then he directs everything. Then he makes you aware about your destiny, makes you aware what's written there in Lohi Mahfuz for you. Maybe some people, they look it in a different way, but what the way I want to create the awareness among the people is that God has bestowed unto thee the title of the Vicegerent. The title Vicegerent, he says, only to the human beings, not to the angels, not to other creatures, but to the human beings. Why this title is there? He says, actually, I gave you the stamp. Stamp of what? His own stamp. It means he gives his own power to the man, and then says to the man to enjoy with the power, to search with this power, and to spread the truth, the ideal truth, what we say. Not the truth which is subject to change. And on Lawh Mahfuz, I remind the verses from Masnavi Maulana Room, how he says, how he explains his views about the friend of the God, what we call Wali Awliya. Lawh Mahfuz ast peshe awliya, Lawh Mahfuz ast peshe awliya, az mahfuz ast mahfuz az khata. And you can take the help of different stories or the different happenings of the great saints, of the great sages of their time, when the people came to them, how they helped people, when people came to Gausul Azam Piri Dastagir. And some people, they are also to this nature to criticize the name of these things. These are the names which has nothing to do with shirk. The God is almighty and nobody can even think of attaining the states of what God has. God is all merciful and all gracious. And what the world attains here, what the people attain, the dignity of stages of spirituality, it's all by Almighty God. And there is no other way to link someone, link all prophets to the God. No, God is there and the prophets are there. So you have to search and you have to understand there is no shirk in it. When God is Almighty and nobody can explain, nobody can claim that He has the power like God. He has the power like God, but He cannot claim that He is God. So nobody has done it. Maybe some people, they have done it, but it's by mistake. What we have understood, what they want to say, they want to convey the message to the people. So why Baba Dawood Khati wants to say about his Peer that you have to marry, it's like to marry the Peer, then you can bear the fruits. And without marriage, there is not possibility of any bearing any son or bearing the daughter, bearing the children. These are the fruits. And spirituality, there are also fruits. And then you need the help of always the saint, the sage, the awliya. As Rumi says, I quoted Lawh Mahfuz, as peshe awliya, as mahfuz, ast mahfuz, az khata. They have the eye on Lawh Mahfuz. In Lawh Mahfuz, this is the book of the destiny, what's written therein. And what Rumi wants to say, that they even know the secrets of this book, that too with the help of God. And we cannot say it's not by the help of God, it's all with the help of God, by the help of God. Most gracious, most merciful. Wallahu ahad. And when they have the eye on this Lawh Mahfuz, and they have the eye in such a way, they know the secrets of this book in such a way, so in such a way that they cannot mistake about it. Az mahfuz, as the mahfuz, as khata. They cannot do any mistake about it. At another place in Masnavi, in the same Masnavi, what we know, what Rumi wants to convey the message.